What's up, everybody? It's Jerupitus, and today we're going to play some historic constructed best of 3 games. There's about 20 hours left before the ladder resets, so I just kind of wanted to make a quick video about the deck that helped me get to Mythic this season, and that would be Sultai. I'm playing a pretty basic version of it. This is kind of what you'll find most people playing. But I just kind of want to talk about a couple of minor differences with my list than some of the other ones. Obviously, you are set up game 1 to kind of handle creature decks, so you've got your Fatal Pushes, your Eliminates. You got one of Tail's End. I find this to just have enough utility that you want one main deck, so I think that it really earns its spot. And then I'm playing 3 copies of Maelstrom Pulse. The reason for this is because I found this card to be kind of a fist pump card, where when someone resolves a Planeswalker and you just don't have the ability to attack it down so that they untap with it, so to prevent them from untapping with it, ripping this card off the top and being able to just destroy it is huge. It's just awesome. It comes up a lot. So I ended up going up a copy of this. I think 4 is too many because while it can be a 2-for-1, because Sultai is a super popular deck, you'll end up having it sort of target your own stuff, like your own Shark Typhoon token when you're trying to hit theirs, or like your own Uros, things like that. Nissa is another one too. So I think 3 copies is the right number. It's felt pretty good to me. And then I am playing a single copy of Ugin in the main deck for game 1, because I find that this card is a pretty serious gotcha card game 1, and then if you are bringing it in out of the sideboard, people already know that they just need to kill your Nissa to really mess you up. It really just wrecks your entire game plan of doubling your mana at some point and then just being able to get ahead that way. So I've found that bringing it in from the sideboard to try to help against decks like Gruul or Mono Red or even Rakdos Sacrifice, they're just very good at preventing you from untapping with Nissa, and it ends up just not working out. However, in game 1, it's much more likely that you can stick this card. People are expecting it a little bit less, so I've liked it in the main deck. And then let's just talk about the sideboard real quick. 2 Aethergus, obvious reasons to play this, but one of the main ones is that this counters things that would otherwise be uncounterable, like, I don't know, you do end up seeing a lot of random decks on the ladder. So things like uncounterable Chandra, and then, it's just fantastic against anything mono red, mono green, Gruul, obviously. It just reads Counterspell, or it's just a super effective, like even better than a bounce. Essence Scatter is for creature matchups. Negate is for control. Scavenging Ooze is for other decks playing Uro. And any deck where you'd want an early blocker, I think it's fine to bring this card in, because your plan is to play a bunch of removal. It's obviously kind of a non-bow with your Cry of the Carnarium and things like that, and Ugin as well, because you're exiling things, but still, it is pretty good. And then it really shines against Arcanist decks. More Narsets are pretty much just for blue-white control. I can't imagine another matchup where I would want like 4 of these, but in that matchup, being able to stick a Narset before they can start sticking to fairies and things like that is really, really strong. So you do want 4 copies just to have this in play all the time against decks that might be playing big Teferi. I went down to 1 Cry because I just felt like this card didn't do enough most of the time. Like against decks like Gruul, their creatures are too big a lot of the time, and you're not really taking out like the problem, and then they're left with their 3/3, and then they just play something else, and you're still in trouble. So I went down to 1. I think 1 is fine, but it's never really been particularly amazing for me. Witch's Vengeance, I would like to be playing more copies of this for Goblins, because Goblins has the same problem where Cry doesn't clean up things like Krenko. But I think you want like some number of these effects, and it might be better to just play to Languish, honestly, because that would actually wipe the board in a lot of instances, and can also take out a Nissa that's gotten a little out of hand, at least all of the lands. Shark Typhoon is, again, for control matchups, so you can have an uncounterable large flying threat. And then Thought Distortion, if I can highlight it, here we go, is the kind of new hotness when it comes to breaking the mirror. And it's good against all of the graveyard decks and any control decks at all. This spell can't be countered, and it does mean it can't be countered, unlike red and green spells that can actually be countered by Aether Gust. So this just straight up can't be countered, and I've managed to get people to discard like 7 cards with this. It's bananas. And it's a really fun include, I think. And so I think with all that out of the way, I can just mention a couple of techie lands. You've got Bojuka Bog, randomly good against graveyard decks. Sometimes you draw it, sometimes you don't, but I think 1 copy is fine. I wish there was a way to like tutor this up, but there is no Primeval Titan, sadly, so you just kind of get this sometimes, and sometimes you can really get people. And then Castle Lothwain, you do end up gaining a lot of life with Uro, so this card draw can be pretty huge if you find yourself exhausted with resources. And then we just have a number of cycling lands, obviously for Triomes. I'm playing Mismatched Fabled Passages. Oh, God. How embarrassing. And that's going to be about it. So with all that, why don't we get to some matches on the Mythic ladder? All right, this hand looks pretty good to me. Hopefully this is a creature matchup. But we have all our colors, so we're going to go ahead and keep. Fabled Passage might mean the mirror. In which case it is good that we drew Nissa, but bad that we can't cast Growth Spiral on 2. And we may want to watch out and hold on to one of these Fabled Passages so that we can get the Revolt trigger, we can control when we have the Revolt trigger on Fatal Push. So that is a thing I think we'd like to be cautious about. All right, Pulse is a good draw, but we're just going to go ahead and drop one of these passages. We can still leave up our Fatal Push, and we need to get a blue. Yep, we are in fact playing against the mirror. And them having Growth Spiral and us not having Growth Spiral is not good. Okay. So let's go ahead and... I think we're going to play Fabled Passage. It doesn't look to me like it's going to be that important to play Fatal Push. And we do need to get that blue still, so let's go ahead and Thoughtseize. We'll take that Nissa. Because whoever plays Nissa first in this is going to win. But what just happened there is another reason to play that Tail's End. Like, Tail's End is just good in enough situations where it's a fantastic main deck card. I've certainly made that play, and it's been good. Yep, Krasis draw 1. All right, I think we need to cycle Shark Typhoon to try to draw land. So that's what we're going to do. I'm not going to worry about a 2/2 flyer. And I'm very glad my opponent did not rip Nissa there. Yep, okay. I don't think they're going to take Shark Typhoon, so I'm just going to let this resolve. They did, okay. Well, at this point, I think I'm going to push that just in an effort to get some cards in my graveyard. For a possible Uro at some point. All right. Well, we are not drawing lands, so this is not good. So I feel like Yeheni's expertise is going to be a little bit better against Nissa just by cleaning up a bunch of the tokens. So I think I'm just going to take that. But I do need to draw like an Uro or something. Fortunately, opponent is flooding. Okay, land is good. Land? Oh my god. Now they do have an eliminate. So we don't want to be careless here, so I think we can just pick forest. Yep. And see, this is why I'm playing this many copies of Pulse. The question is, though, can I just play and resolve Uro? I kind of think I need to get rid of that, though. I'm not in a huge hurry, and that is a way that they can get back in this game. So if I pay to... Yeah, I don't need to because I'll still be able to have Eliminate up. And I can't cast Uro this turn because I don't have a forest that produces blue. All right, I kind of can't believe we won that game. Okay, so for the mirror, we like Scavenging Ooze. I think Thought Distortion is pretty good because they're going to have, you know, a number of counter spells, things like that. We like Aether Gust as well. And that's about it. I find that I don't want Extinction Event, but I do want some number of Eliminates, but Fatal Push can get out as well, although you do like having answers to Shark Typhoon tokens. But I think Ugin is kind of too big of a spell and doesn't really... It's not very one-sided in the mirror, right? Like, if I play Ugin in minus, it's pretty likely off of a Nissa, and I want to get rid of their Nissa, so that can end up not working out that great. Now... we do want the maximum number of answers to their Nissa, which Maelstrom Pulse is good at. Narset is pretty good against them playing Uro, but I think we can cut Krasis. We can at least shave a Krasis, and that gives me room for something like another Shark Typhoon or a Negate. I kind of think I'm feeling Negate. Because they're not going to have, like, a ton of counterspells, I don't think. And Thoughtseize is pretty good at beating that. And then Uro just by itself is good at beating counterspell strategies anyway, because they just keep counterspelling you, and then you just end up casting Uro after casting all your other stuff. And eventually they just get exhausted. So I think this is fine. You could definitely make the argument that maybe Krasis should just be Shark Typhoon to pressure Nissa. In fact, I think I'm going to do that. Yeah, okay. This hand is very slow, but I think that's okay. So let's keep it. We'll lead on Fetid Pools because we may draw an untapped land. And with this few number of lands, I don't think I'll be wanting to cycle lands anytime soon. Boy, they have Growth Spiral and we don't again. Okay, Thoughtseize is a good draw. Alright, they don't have anything. Alright, well, let's take the Tail's End. And we'll just go get green now. Because I don't want them to Tail's End me on that. Not again, at least. Alright, and it's nice of them to play the card we don't know about. And since they are just holding Tail's End, why don't we go ahead and resolve an Ooze? Hard to say what to get with this. Okay. I'm kind of surprised they did that, but... That's fine with me. And I'm going to play that untapped just so that I have the green just in case they want to try to resolve an Uro. But we're going to start eating up their graveyard now. Land would have been nice. So what if they have Shark Typhoon? It makes a 3/3. I guess I could technically eat my own Uro and trade, but that seems like terrible. Let's play Narset. Yeah, let's grab Pulse. But I think I'm going to not attack. I don't think the 2 damage matters. And I don't want it to get eaten by Shark Typhoon, so... Alright. At least we have Pulse for it. So if I block, I've got 5 cards. I think I do want to do that. I have another one, and I can't currently attack into it, and I do kind of want to stack up my graveyard a little bit. So let's go... Well, first of all, let's activate Narset, see if we can grab a counter spell. I think I'll just take another Pulse. So the other option is, like, if Pulse fails, then I could still cast Growth Spiral this turn. But I don't think that... Well, that does... Okay. Well, Pulse still goes to the graveyard for Uro, right? So I'll still have 6 cards. So I think I'm just going to take Pulse. I think it's just got more impact.
I must seek comfort in the land.
And I think I'll just play another Ooze. Like, Ooze is not super central to my strategy, but I think it's good to be on the board right now. No blocks.
I shall miss your company.
Okay, that was kind of a risk because if they have Uro there, I'm in a lot of trouble. Alright, so let's play this. Let's pay the life. Now, we can't pulse the land. We could try to resolve Nissa, but I feel like that's not going to work. And same with Uro. So I think I'll just make a big shark. Because if I try to resolve one of these more expensive cards and then I can't do anything else, like they Tails End me or something, that's just kind of a disaster. And I feel like I can take the damage there. Like, I could make the shark and try to block the land, but that doesn't seem that good, and I feel like leaving up all this mana may make them play differently. That is fine. Draw 3 is pretty good, though, but they are tapped out then. Unless they've got an island or something. Yeah, I think I'm going to do this. Because I have 2 Nissa, so... For 4. And they take Nissa and not Pulse, which is interesting. So can I Pulse and play Uro? Like, I'm definitely playing this untapped. I can probably go like Nissa and do everything, right? Probably. So I need to untap a blue. But that would only be 5 mana, so I can't quite pulse the Krasis, which I do need to do. So why don't we just go ahead and do that? And we'll eat the Krasis. Go ahead and we'll leave up a blue just to try and mess with him. But that puts him to 7. And that's got to be pretty good. That resolves.
Forgive me.
Sure. Yep, let's just start eating their graveyard a bit.
I cannot protect you anymore.
So they're at 7, so I can go ahead and send everything. But I think what I'm going to do is play this Uro first to see if I can draw any kind of counterspell and win the game right here. And I cannot. But I'm going to jam this one to see if maybe they'll do something. And it's like almost a certainty that they've got to kill my 4/4. So I probably just get to do this. Aether Gust is probably pretty good. But I do not have double mana, so I can't cast it. And I kind of think I want to hold this to cycle. And we'll attack for lethal. Yep. That resolves. Let's make sure we activate Ooze and eat something. Now, I do definitely wish that I still had Aether Gust up, but I think it was worth it to make him have it there. Okay, at least they can't cast that right now, and I get to eat it. Unless they hit land here. And they hit a tap land, so they can't cast Uro. That's great for me.
The land fights for us.
Alright, so first thing, let's eat Uro. And then I think we'll Gust Nissa on their upkeep. So let's put a stop there. Let's play the land. We can cycle the Triome. Why not Pulse it instead?
I must go.
They lose their land, and then they have one draw. All right. Won a match against the mirror. Sweet. All right, let's go ahead and play first. So I think this is fine, but not super exciting. But I do like a nice turn 1 Thoughtseize. I think everyone does. And we have the ability to cast Growth Spiral on 2 if we draw it, which is super important. So let's go ahead and shock ourselves, and then shock ourselves again, and hope they're not Gruul. They are goblins. So what is most important? Krenko is an interesting inclusion. I can't really stop any of their early plays. But I think Herald's Horn is probably the most concerning card. Like, obviously Muxus would be a good pick, but I feel like these cards... I gotta read these, actually. Whenever Cranko Tin Street Kingpin attacks, put a +1/+1 counter on it, then create a number 1/1 goblins. Okay. And then Legion War Boss. Yeah, both of these get out of control pretty quickly. And War Chief is going to grant them both haste, so maybe it's actually the haste guy. Yeah, I think that makes sense, honestly. All right, we're going to play and crack Fabled Passage because we don't really want to draw any more lands, if possible. We need some interaction. I guess I'll get a blue just in case I draw a Narset. Then I can resolve it. So how big are these? They both have 2 toughness, so I'd really like to be able to make a 2/2 shark token. Them missing land there is huge. Alright, so let's play the Drowned Catacomb. And since neither of them will have haste, I think we have time to resolve Narset. And try to find, like, a Fatal Push or something. That works. I mean, it is 4 turns away to cast Ugin. So also finding a Nissa would be a pretty big deal. But if I'm lucky, they just won't draw any lands. Yeah, that's insane. Okay. We're getting very lucky today. Nothing there. Let's cast Uro. And it's getting kind of close where I may want to just cycle Shark Typhoon on 0. Yep, that happens. Because I would really like to find a Maelstrom Pulse for this thing. And making 1 blocker against goblins is not that big of a deal. So we're just going to keep digging. Alright. So I think I'm going to Narset. To keep looking for interaction. Thoughtseize is decent. So that means we can go Growth Spiral. Perfect. Play a land. And Thoughtseize. Brash Taunter, huh? This is a really weird goblin deck. I think it's kind of cool, though. So they have Cranko, but none of these have haste, so I think I just keep taking the haste guys. That makes sense to me. Alright. But I'm not feeling good that, like, I'm not pressuring to close the game here. Because if you give goblins a lot of time, they will kill you eventually, especially when they have Herald's Horn. Okay. Alright, Fatal Push is a nice draw. But I think we'd like to cast this Uro. So the problem with Fatal Push is that it won't be able to kill any of their haste dudes if they hit them off Muxus. So Nissa is kind of a big deal here. I do think I need to take that, but Eliminate would kill a haste guy. But I think that's just what we gotta do. We have to start trying to end the game. So I have an Overgrown Tomb. So I would need 2 Breeding Pools to cast Uro. So if I do this and then push the War Boss, then I can untap the Breeding Pool, attack, and then play Uro. Okay.
Witness the ties that bind us all.
Oh, Fatal Push doesn't hit the War Boss, does it? Okay, well.
Be wary of the ground you walk on. Such violence is upsetting.
All right. May just be dead here. That was a land for sure, so this means they can just play Muxus. Unless it was like, I don't know, another Herald's Horn or something. They can't have that many, like, non-goblin, non-land cards in their deck, can they? All right. So that one's 5 and that one's 3. So I could do Extinction Event on Odd, but I don't think I care about these too much. I mean, this is a pretty good blocker. Would exile my own Uro, though, and that would suck. Yeah, I mean, I'll block one. Less goblins is better.
Won't forget our time together.
But Fatal Push just isn't doing anything. I'll hang on to it, though. I don't think there's a reason to throw it away. Alright, Thoughtseize is huge. Immortal Sun is kind of a crazy card to be playing, but let's go ahead and take Muxus. And let's see. I need to get rid of this Brash Taunter, I think. Like, it's just a really good blocker. And it's just going to, like, be able to throw around 6 damage as long as I have Uro in play. So I think I'm going to go ahead and do that. Then I have 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I could still cast Ugin this turn. I think that's what I want to do.
Behold, nature's true power.
And I'm just going to target them because I want to try to attack for lethal next turn if I can. Yeah, so aren't they just dead? They are. Okay. Minus, and that's going to be 4. I want to make sure I'm, like, they have multiple different Krankos, so I want to make sure it gets rid of all of them. All right, that was a weird Goblins build, but let's go to game 2. So we definitely like Witch's Vengeance. Cry is fine, but once again, not amazing. And then Aether Gust is pretty good as well. I think Essence Scatter is great too. Tails End handles Muxus and various Krankos. And what don't we like? Krasis is probably way too slow. And Shark Typhoon is not particularly impressive either. I kind of want to hang on to Ugin, despite the fact that, like, you can play this minus and they can just stick Muxus and kill you back. So it's really not that good. But it can, like, let's say they do a Muxus and it's not a very good one. Then you can slam Ugin and clear it. And that's pretty good. So I think it's probably worth a slot. Unfortunately, Narset doesn't touch Herald's Horn. Because you just put it into your hand, you don't draw it. And there is a difference. So I need to cut 3 cards. Like, it kind of feels like I can go to 1 Narset, but I kind of like it because it can help me make sure that I've still got enough counterspells in my hand to finish the game. We can probably shave a Pulse because we're bringing in all this removal. And Pulse is a little slow, but it is good against their horns, so maybe that's crazy. I think I can shave an Uro because Uro is a little slow against them. Like, you're kind of either dead or in charge by the time Uro coming back up matters. And so we need to cut 1 more card. I guess because I'm bringing in 2 sweepers, I can cut 1 Extinction Event. Because it sometimes leaves behind things that you don't want it to, so we'll do that. Although it's possible I'd rather just cut Ugin and play both Extinction Events. So we'll see. I mean, especially on the draw, it's not super likely we're going to get to cast Ugin and, like, have it matter. But also they're playing kind of a weird build, so I have no blue, so I think we have to ship this, despite the fact that we do have a Thoughtseize. I can't cast, like, any of the other cards in my hand. It's kind of tempting, but I think we can do better. Yeah, this looks good. And I think we can bottom a Fetid Pools. Maybe it's Bog. Yeah, Bog doesn't matter in this matchup. and it comes into play tapped. And these allow Hinterland Harbor to come into play untapped, so let's do that. All right. That's a good drop. That's nice because if they've got a conspicuous Snoop, then I can just Fatal Push it and play a Fetid Pools tapped so I can resolve Uro. Ugh. That's a fast horn. Okay, Growth Spiral is actually kind of a huge draw. So let's do that. Get my Triome into play. But Horn is really hard to beat if it goes uncontested for too long. Alright, if I draw a land, I can Uro. Yeah, okay, this works. So, yeah. Play Uro, and then we can Fatal Push the Chieftain. Go get a black. Because that's got to go. They could play Krenko, and this game could just be over. You hate to see that. If they just jam Krenko here, I'll probably just Gust it. So let's see. I've got 4 cards, so I could go... can I actually hit both of these? Yeah, okay. Let's just Extinction Event then. And I do want to play this Fabled Passage because that gives us enough cards in Graveyard to reanimate Uro next turn. So let's take... I guess we could just take Forest because this allows us to have any of our 2 mana spells up. So the problem with Aether Gust against Herald's Horn is that Herald's Horn is very good against it, but it's not the end of the world. Do I want to Gust this? I mean, they're a turn away. I guess if they had Muxus, they would have played it this turn. Yeah, I'm going to let that resolve. I think I just have to save Aether Gust for Muxus. That is a problem as well. Yeah, okay. Well, let's Gust that. The problem we're having is that we're not executing our own game plan fast enough. Oh my god. Oh my god, there it is. All right. And pulse that horn. Get out of here. It's kind of a weird phrase, but it is in fact what we just did. Just pulsed their goblin horn. Oh no. I don't think I'm dead, but that is very bad for me. So what? I can block... Well, let's see if I have to block Muxus. 10, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So I am not dead. Can I rip Ugin? I can. So certainly can't block Brash Taunter. And I don't think the Brash Taunter is back to block to shoot me in the face. And they're indestructible, right? So it's like a question of not going to 1, but then I kind of can't attack. And I can't attack anyway, so I guess I just block the 10. Yeah, that makes sense to me. That is not going to do it. All right, let's pack it in. They really got me with that Muxus. I felt like they didn't have it, but they just played it really well. All right, is there anything that I would want to change on the play? On the play, we're able to execute our game plan a little faster. How good would Extinction Event have been here? 5, 5, 3, 3, 1. Yeah, on odd, it would have been pretty good. But Muxus would have still been left in play, so it's still just not amazing. You know what would have been amazing? Languish. Let's see. Yeah, I still don't want Hydroid Krasis. Yeah, I think I like this. Let's just run it back. Let's play first. Push and a Nissa. Okay. We've got the Fabled Passage to go with the pushes to kind of upgrade them, so, you know, trigger the Revolt. Tail's End is a nice draw. Yeah, I'm just going to play this, and I think I'll just pass. At least we can stop the first Muxus. Yep, there it is. Maybe I should have pushed the Skirk Prospector. Because the way they're playing, and I think they're right, is that the only thing that matters is just getting Herald Torn into play. It's just so good. So I can just go, like, Passage, Fabled Passage, and kill that. So let's just let that resolve, because if I use my Tail's End on it, then I won't have it for Muxus. We're going to take... No, we already have Nissa. Let's take the Thoughtseize then. Yeah, that makes sense. Let's crack the Fabled Passage. Go get a Swamp. And push Krenko. And then we get to slam Nissa and have Tail's End up. And we have one more turn, which is pretty fortunate. And that's what we've got to do. Essence Scatter is a good draw as well. I do have to find something eventually to kill that Krenko, but it's going to take a little while to get going with the combination of cards that I currently have. Now, the question is, would I want to attack? And I think the answer is no. I could just Thoughtseize here. But if I lose my Triome, then I can't cast Tail's End or Essence Scatter. Thoughtseize is a risk, so I think I'm just going to not do that. I can do a whole bunch of things next turn, so... Okay, we can go ahead and Essence Scatter that. Attacking with Krenko, huh? Fascinating. All right, so now we can play the Fabled Passage. We can Thoughtseize them to see what they're working with here. Yep, let's take the other Muxus. We could take Conspicuous Snoop because we have Tail's End for Muxus. I think that's actually more sensible. Yep, let's do that. Let's crack Passage. Do I need another black for any reason? I don't think so. Yeah, let's just do swamp, whatever.
The land fights for us.
And now we have Tail's End to counter Muxus, which they're almost certainly going to cast here. And if they want to do the Horn, I'm also kind of fine with that, because all I got to do is attack for 9 and then counter something important. That's perfect. All right, so Bajuka Bog. Doesn't really matter in this matchup, but whatever.
Harness the elements.
And they can draw a bunch of cards, but they can't cast that many things. And they're at 5. Yep, let's Tail's End that. And they are dead. Beat a weird Goblins build. I feel like if it was a more standard build, we can easily get beaten by that deck, but feels good to win. All right, we are on the draw, and we've got a Thoughtseize, an Eliminate, a Tail's End, a good spread of different removal, and then a Shark Typhoon, so I like it. This is probably the mirror. Let's lead on Forest. Actually, we could go Swamp, Thoughtseize. That seems kind of good to me. Let's do that. Take their Growth Spiral. Thoughtseize is not amazing in the mirror. Because it just kind of feeds their Uro. Yep, that resolves. I like drawing Pulse. So we could Tail's End that. I don't hate it. They can't play Nissa, so let's do it. Why not? It'll be fun. Like, I won't have it for the Uro rebound, but I will have, like, Pulse and Eliminate already, so I think maybe Stone Raining them once to help me keep pace with their mana production could have ended up being good. It is obviously not at this point. Oh, if I had a Growth Spiral, I could be casting this right now and we would be in the driver's seat, but we are not. So let's just go ahead and play the Forest and pass. And then if they reanimate Uro, we can Eliminate. If they play Nissa, we can Pulse. Okay. Then they're going to do Uro. And this is actually pretty good for me because now I can Eliminate on end step and then slam Nissa. And I can't think of anything that they could stop me on, but I'm just going to do this now. Thoughtseize here would be bad. Okay. They don't have it.
I will protect the virtue of this world.
So, do I want to represent anything? I don't have anything to play anyway, so I guess not. And it is definitely a consideration that they can just kill your lands, so you do want to watch out for that. And make sure that you're selecting which land intelligently, in that, like, if you're not representing anything, which is the one you can most afford to lose. And I believe my third green is the correct answer there. So here's where Pulse gets awkward.
Behold nature's true power.
I don't think I want to block because they have a huge mana advantage over me.
I will endure.
All right. So now I can make like a somewhat large shark. I kind of don't want to pulse here. So I think what I want to do is play this tapped. Get some counters on it. Now I could send both at their Nissa. I would lose one. But then I can make the shark. I think that's what we're going to do. And they obviously block my Triome. Makes sense to me. Sure. And I still have 2, 4, 6, 7, 8 mana. To make a 6/6 shark. That's fine because I can still draw the card on their end step. I hope this isn't like Eliminate or something. That would be really annoying. There it is. Maybe they'll cast it on my forest? Okay. So I could let this happen. But it doesn't... I guess so it would get around like if they had an extinction event or something. And I would only be able to make a 4/4 shark, but that would still kill their Nissa. So I think I'm just going to let this happen. Because the thing I'm the most concerned about is killing this Nissa. Yep.
The land fights for us.
So do I want to make the shark now? I guess so. Okay.
Let us talk of peace.
So at this point, I might just kill their Narset and pulse both our Nissas and see where that leaves me. The problem is they can just kind of kill my Narset and then start casting their Uros, so that's not amazing for me by any means. But it does mean that since they did that Tail's End, they can't cast Uro this turn, which is pretty good for me. But I feel like I'm losing. And that would be because they have 8 lands and I have 4.
Be wary of the ground.
Alright, well, Thoughtseize is a terrible draw. So let's go ahead and play this Fabled Passage. And let's get a blue for Narset. Get nothing. That is a big old yikes. So if I want to cast Pulse, I've got to plus my Nissa. And I think I need to do that despite the fact that they're just going to get to cast Uro. And Thoughtseize doesn't do anything because they don't have any cards. So let's go plus. And the question is, do I want to send it Narset? I would lose my island, and we both lose our Nissas. And they get to stick Uro. How important is that island? I mean, it is pretty important. So I think I'm just going to leave it. I don't think I can afford to lose any more lands.
I am in need of rest.
That's just brutal. I'm pretty sure we can pretty safely pack it in, like, right now. I mean, this is 9, and then it will be 12, and they also get to cast Uro. I'm comfortable going to game 2. And I hope you are, too. All right. So, we're playing the Sultai Mirror again. We like Aether Gust. And we liked a copy of Negate. And then the Ooze. And I think Thought Distortion is pretty good as well. I think Hydroid Krasis is kind of unnecessary in the mirror. And Fatal Push is also probably not worth it, but Eliminate is still good because they've got Narsets and Uros and probably Shark Typhoon tokens as well. And we probably don't need Extinction Event either. Now, the question is, would I like to get like an extra copy of Negate in? Like maybe I just want one Scavenging Ooze. It's just good against Uro and like literally nothing else. And Thought Distortion is pretty good against Uro because it exiles all of the non-creature, non-land cards from their graveyard when I cast it anyway. And having the maximum number of answers to Nissa, I think, is pretty important. So why don't we do that? And then Ugin is kind of unusually bad because the lands from Nissa are colorless. Like, Witch's Vengeance could actually be pretty interesting against elementals. I kind of think I like that. I'm going to try it out. I don't know if it's good. It probably isn't. But, like, a Nissa that's made a couple of lands, killing, like, 2 of them is honestly pretty good. Like, it's pretty annoying when they keep killing your lands with Nissa and you're, like, animating them and you're like, wow, I've only got, like, 2 or 3 lands left. Like, if I lose this Nissa, this game is over because I go down from, like, 6 mana to 3. So, yeah, we'll try out the single Witch's Vengeance just as a kind of fun techie card. See how that goes. Okay, let's do it. I'm looking at that second Ooze, though. We'll be fine. All right, let's play first. Nope. This is fine. We at least have all our colors. And we can get rid of a swamp, I think. That hurts. I guess... yeah. I guess I'd like to leave Negate up. It's super doubtful that I would want to cast it on anything, but... yep, that's fine. Now I kind of wish I had my second Ooze. Alright, that's not bad. So what am I at? 1 card? Okay. I have a bunch of blue cards, so why not a blue? I think that makes sense. But I don't like where this is headed, but I feel okay having negate to hit a Nissa if they try to stick one here. So close to being able to do both in one turn. But I think because I can't, we're gonna just go ahead and hold off. Yep, their deck is executing. Meanwhile, I'm over here hiding behind this negate like, please, God, save me. Uh-huh. And no land. This is a risk, but I feel like I can't afford to be missing land drops. Again. Yep. And gusting the first Uro should be okay. That resolves. Do I want that on top? I guess not. Because I need to draw land still. That's fine. We just bottomed our Uro, so.
Hone your prowess.
Alright, this is the Nissa negate turn. And then, assuming this works out and they don't have two counter spells, then I have both Gust and Negate up. Yeah, so that means I need to untap a blue. So why don't we do the pools?
Be wary of the ground you walk.
Now, they can make a 4/4 Shark, which would be kind of a catastrophe for me. But I think I'm not going to not attack. And if they've got it, they get me pretty good here. But it's just going to have to be... It is what it is. I certainly hope not. Yep. Okay, you got me. Now, can I pulse? No. So, that's it. Yeah, it's too bad I didn't have an eliminate there. That would have been pretty good.
Before action.
Ashiok's an interesting include. So here's the thing. They have exactly enough mana up for Nissa, so I think I have to let this resolve. So I mill 4 and they exile my graveyard. I kind of feel like that doesn't matter. Ah, they mill themselves and then exile my graveyard. That makes sense, to a degree. Yep, some damages.
Do not assume I am
And I think I want to go ahead and try to put this Uro on top. So why don't we pulse the Shark token? Tempting to cycle this, actually. think I'm gonna. Well, that was a mistake. No matter how many times you play against Narset, you will end up doing that, I swear. Maybe it's just me, but I do not think it is.
Behold, nature's true power.
Okay.
I have reached my limit.
But yeah, this combo of Ashiok and Uro is pretty good. Have to negate that. But now we're out of cards, and they have millions, so... yeah, I think I'm willing to let this go right now. Okay, 1-1 in the mirror. That's not so bad. Think we got time for a couple more games. No black, but I like Growth Spiral into Uro. That gets me a lot of fresh cards, so I think I'm fine with this. There's a black. And it looks like it's the mirror again. Turns out a lot of other people think this deck is good, too. And why don't we play the Tomb and Thoughtseize? And I think I'll just take their Nissa. Yep. That's the card I care about. Let's play this Uro. Narset's a good draw. So let's put this into play. And I'm feeling like I might want to hold the Triome to cycle. So why don't we play the castle? Yep. All right, so let's play Uro. Perfect. Play the Swamp. Play Drowned Catacomb, and now we can cycle the Triome and try to stick an Uro next turn. Like, they've got Eliminate and Pulse for it, so I don't want to be too hasty doing that. But we can actually cycle this now because we could rip a Thoughtseize. Perfect. So Extinction Event exiles Uro, and I think that's what I care about. So I guess we'll take that. You can have my Eliminate, sure. Yep, I'm just going to jam this. So they've got the Eliminate for whatever land I pick here. So I think it's just going to be like Swamp.
The land shall conquer you.
And like if you were going to do that, you should have just done it, I think. But I cannot also cast Uro, so maybe picking the Swamp was a mistake. But if they'd done that during combat, then I still wouldn't be able to cast Uro. Yep, so now they go Pulse, sure.
My strength fades.
We'll just go ahead and do this.
You are a mighty warrior. I can see.
But I probably should have casted Uro last turn. Yep, there's Pulse. Sure. And I have 5 cards, so I could go Uro, try to draw a land. think that's what we do. We do not draw it. I'm going to decline, because I think I want to cycle this. To help me not exile all my other Uros when I finally have one of these stick. I think it does matter to have a reasonable number of them available to you. But I could have casted one a turn earlier, which would have been better. Yep. So Pulse is going to be a little awkward again for the mirror. But I think that's fine. So what do I have? 7 cards, so I probably want to Growth Spiral first. Can I still cast Uro if I do that? Yes, I can. Green, green, blue, blue. Perfect.
I can help you no longer.
That's a lot of pulses. Sort of making me feel a little silly for playing 3, but I thought that it showed why it was good in a couple of games, but now it is kind of showing why it's bad. Yep, that resolves. Fortunately, I can play my other Uro and push this one next turn, so that shouldn't be... This isn't a complete disaster. All right, so let's play the first Uro. Okay, I will play that. Push your Uro. Now, do I have anything that can stop that? Not really. So that resolves, and I don't think I want that on top. But I guess putting it on the top or the bottom, if I crack this Fabled Passage, it doesn't matter. So let's decline. We'll play the Growth Spiral to draw a fresh card. And then we'll pop the Fabled Passage. And now we've got Pulse for their Uro. And that exhausts their graveyard a bit, which is good for me. Sure. Take a pulse. I'm at 32, so I feel like I can pay the 2 life. Kill that. And now that leaves me with 8 cards, so I can cast this without exiling anything. What I mean by that is not exiling my other Uros. And if I hit a land here, I think I can activate my castle, but I did not. Yep, get all those forests. This is quite the Uro fight. I hope that this video is a good demonstration of why this card is stupid. This is a stupid, stupid Magic card.
Keep an open mind.
Narset's a pretty good draw for them. So is that. Oh dear. And Castle Lothwain doesn't do anything, and neither does attacking with Uro. Yikes. Okay. Well, I suppose we send Uro at Narset. Yep. But Narset into Nissa was huge for them. Yeah, now they've got Tail's End. Feel like we just lost. I'll keep playing, though, because I do have Ugin in my deck. But they do have the Tail's End for me, which prevents me from resolving that anytime soon. Fortunately, I have a pretty high life total to work with. Boy, Narset sure makes that card look stupid, huh? Well, I think I'm going to play it anyway, just to make a huge threat. 13 is 11. But I think the plan will be to just try to attack them twice with this Krasis.
The land fights for us.
Yeah, I think I'm just going to go them. And then we'll play Eugene. And you can Tail's End that if you want to. Sure. I think I'll just cast the Uro. Yep, sure. But are you just dead to Krasis?
Harness the elements.
Yes, you are. That's no black up, isn't it? Okay, wow. I'm surprised. They had some interesting main deck cards, right? Like they have Cry main, and they had something else weird. Yeah, Gust. Well, I guess main deck Gust is not that weird. So we like Aether Gust for sure. Don't like Extinction Event. Do like Eliminate. Don't really like Fatal Push. And I don't think I want Ugin. That was mostly just Tail's End bait. I mean, Krasis was good there. I like Thought Distortion for sure. But yeah, if they're playing Narset, then like Krasis is just pretty bad. Like, I mean, it won the game there, but it was still bad. I think we're going to cut it. And it's like, oh yeah, you know what? I could shave a Pulse in the mirror. Like, obviously they're going to have a lot of the same permanents as me, so I think that makes sense to do. And then we have room for both negates. And like an extra Shark Typhoon. Yeah, that makes sense. I think I left in 3 Pulse last time I played the mirror, and it just like isn't very good. Like if they've got Nissa, you really just it's not that good for you. Just kind of 2 for 1 yourself. Yeah, okay. I like it. Let's do it. Yeah, so this is one of those trap hands where it's like you just need green and it's amazing. But I think you ship this. Like if you literally rip Forest, then this hand is incredible. But I just don't think you can rely on that, particularly in the mirror. Like they're going to be thought seizing you anyway, probably. So Just want a hand that's a little bit more dense. Yeah, this is not great either, but I think we're going to keep it. It's got a Nissa, so... feels like I can bottom a land. But maybe not. But I kind of want all my spells, so... Let's just ditch an Overgrown Tomb. Ooh, I love it. What you got? So I think I just have to take their Thoughtseize. But they get to make a lot of mana really quick here, but there's nothing I can do about that. I'd rather them not know the contents of my hand and me at least get the information and take away their ability to take my Nissa. But between Growth Spiral and Uro, I don't love my spot here. Let's get that Triome down. I maybe want to cycle this at some point, but it's seeming less and less likely. Okay, that's like fine. A 2-2. Not going to worry about that. So they've got 4 cards in graveyard, and if I Thoughtseize them again, then like Uro's ready to go. That just sucks so much. I hate that card. It's just so good. I know I'm playing it, but like, well, we'll take that. And then we'll play this. So would I rather just play both of these tapped? Like, cycling Fetid Pools actually seems kind of risky, so I'm still going to pay the 2 life just to have Eliminate up. Yeah, I need to hang on to this Eliminate for when they inevitably cast Uro. Yep, let's play this tapped. And I'm hoping that I get to go eliminate something and then turn around and slam Nissa. Yep, that's fine.
My prowess is unmatched by me. I have just the trick for this.
Let's hit the Narset.
My mind needs a rest.
And now they might have Tail's End for me. But considering they're going to get to cast Uro any second now, I think I just got to jam and hope they don't. That's fairly good news. Yeah, I guess we just do Triome.
Be wary of the ground you walk on.
And with any luck, like, Pulse on Uro will be good and we can get ahead on board and try to run away with it from there. That's not good.
Witness the ties that bind us all.
Yep.
The land fights for us.
Okay.
Do not test me.
Well, I have to Pulse Uro.
Harness the elements. You try.
But this does not look good.
Rise, my elemental friend.
Yeah. And I can't even really trade here. I'm about to lose Nissa.
Fight on without me.
I mean, I'll cycle, but I think we all know this game is over. Yeah, they're going to attack for 9. Yeah, no sign of my own arrows or ooze. So, no big deal. Was Pulse embarrassing? A little bit. Maybe we can just go to 1. Get Krasis back in. Don't hate it. All right. All right, let's play first. Boy, how about a hand that ramps deck? Like, on the play, 2 lands is so rough. But I'm going to keep this. I don't really want to go to 6. And I have Shark Typhoon to cycle. And, like, it's so frustrating because when you're on the play, this deck has 50% lands. And let me tell you what's going to happen. I am going to never draw another land. It's like clockwork. It's amazing. So we're going to cycle this for 0 in an effort to draw a land. Okay, we did it. We did it. We did it. Beautiful. How about an overgrown tomb? Good enough. And it's nice that they can't growth spiral here. Seems like they're in the same boat as us. At least a little bit. Yeah, no plays. Okay. Well, I'm smelling blood, but I don't want to do anything hasty. We need to keep drawing extra cards. Keep trying to find this almighty land drop. It is not there. But let's Thoughtseize and see what they're working with. All right. So they've got Thoughtseize for me and a bunch of counter spells. I think I want to take their Thoughtseize. I have another one, so let's do that. Okay, Overgrown Tomb is a huge draw. And let's Uro again. Land. Oh, yeah. And now I get to Thoughtseize them again. And now they have multiple counterspells for my Nissa. So what do any of these, like, not counter? Like, I could take Negate, and they still have Tail's End. So, like, I kind of can't get through the counter wall. So I think I just take their Nissa. Yeah. Like, if I take Tail's End, they can still negate. If I take Aether Gust, they still have 3. So, we'll take Nissa. And it's not worth it to cast any of this. All right. Krasis is a big draw. 5, 6, 7 is 5. Sure. I get a 5/5. I like that. That will force them to act eventually. And now what? I could try to cast Nissa. They just have Negate and 2 Gusts. But I think I'm going to send. Draw an extra card. Yep, let's Thoughtseize them. And I think their Uro is fine. Yeah, I'm certainly not picking that. So why don't we take the negate? And now they'll just only have Gust. And let's see, I have 4, 9, this is 10 mana, so I can cast 2 Nissas here. And I think I will take that action. Yep. That resolves. And let's go Uro. See if you've got another one. Nope. All right. 2 and 1 in the mirror. Reasonable enough. Well, I guess I just hope that Fatal Push matters. Temple of Mystery, huh? That's interesting. Could be the mirror again. Yeah, this is, I mean, at least I have Pulse if they just stick Nissa here. Sure.
I protect that which cannot protect itself. Behold, nature's true power.
What? What just happened?
I must go.
My planet needs me. That's what I always say. Nissa says, I must go. My planet needs me. And then she floats away. Sure. All right. So, yeah, I think we're fine. And then next turn, I can Crisis for 4, which will draw me 2 cards, which is pretty good. Kind of a build-your-own Cloud Blazer. Sure.
Together we will prevail. The land
Why are they doing that? This is a bunch of life to pay, but... So, let's go Pulse Nissa.
I can help you no longer.
Growth Spiral. And Thoughtseize. Don't like Casualties. They don't have a ton of mana for Crisis, so... We'll take Casualties, and hopefully my Nissa sticks next turn. Problem is I can't really push Uro, but we'll see. It would be nice if, like, you could, like, cast 2 of these and then they would add up to 4 CMC somehow. Unfortunately, that's not how this card works. Oh my god, is that good? Oh. I can't believe I drew that. Oh, wow. All right, so let's get a forest. Let's go ahead and push Uro. Let's Nissa. This is such a devastating turn. Oh, it feels good. It feels really good. I'm not gonna lie. All right, let's take the breeding pool. Oh no, you got me. Yeah, you get to Crisis, but I get to Crisis for a lot more. Yep. And Crisis has a teeny tiny little baby casting cost, so he can go away. Nine, so this is... Or it's more than... Yeah, 9, so this is 7. Works for me. And I kind of just want to jam Narset. Like, it'll prevent their Crisis from drawing cards. That seems real good to me. Yep. Well, I don't like that. Anything good? I do want to... I'm going to put that on top, but I think what I want to do right now... Eliminate Uro. And then I can, like... So if I draw it for turn... If I do stuff like cast Growth Spiral, then I won't be able to cast Nissa, so... We'll put it on top. Yeah, Ugin seems good. That'll do it. All right. On to game 2. I still kind of can't decide how I want to do this. I guess Ugin can go, and then I just have 1 card to cut. Could just be, yeah, down to 1 pulse. I think I like that. Because we have lots of ways then to prevent Nissa from resolving. We've got the Gust, the Negates, Tail's End, and Thoughtseize. Thought Distortion as well. So it's a little less important to be able to kill it on the board, but I still want to have access to that kind of effect. So let's do that. This looks fantastic. I really don't want to play Bojuka Bog on, like, turn 3 after the Growth Spiral, but I guess I will if I have to. But you'd really like to... Oh, thank God. You'd really like to, if you can, hold it until after they play Uro for obvious reasons. All right, so we're just going to get to fire on all cylinders here, which is sweet. All right. This makes me a little regretful. Like, it's possible I'm prioritizing trying to use Bojuka Bog effectively too much, and therefore didn't get to Thoughtseize before they did. But we'll see. I mean, I may have to play it here anyway. Nope. Sweet. Oh, I guess I do, huh? Okay, whatever. Like, it's not no value, but tagging an Uro is obviously ideal. But I think I'd rather just get ahead on land drops. Do I want another black? I don't think so. It doesn't help me cast Uro and, like, other stuff. So I think I'd rather have the blue for all these blue cards. I think that makes sense. So the problem with casting Uro here is that I don't have my negate anymore, which is sad. But I will still have negate up. So I think I'm just going to do it. And if they've got a gust for me, that's fine. Yep. Well, that's pretty good. All right, well, we'll do our best to rebuild, but doesn't look good. Thought Distortion is very good. I'm sad that my opponent got to demonstrate that and not me, but it is a fact that this card is awesome and super fun to cast. It could just be absolutely backbreaking, like what, I discarded 3 cards there. Well, that's not bad. So I have 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, so I can make a 6/6. And block their Uro. I guess that's what I try to do. I don't have high hopes for this working out, but I think we try anyway. It's not like I can race that, so... But it's pretty likely they've got an Eliminate or, you know, something. That's a horrible draw. Ouch. Yep.
Behold nature's true power.
All right. Sure.
Through this land, we are all connected. Be wary of the ground you walk on.
Want to trade? I thought you might. Okay, eliminate's not a terrible draw. Would I like to put that on top? What am I looking for? Like, Krasis would be good. Ooze would be pretty good. Do they get to... it doesn't look like they get to do it this turn. So I don't think I want to put that on top. Because we're not even close to recasting it. And playing it to draw a card is the same thing as putting it on the bottom, so...
Stop.
All right, well... Why don't we cycle first? That is also not great. Is this a Shark Typhoon? Okay, that's pretty good. I guess I should have made a land and attacked first. Because I'm super down to trade lands. But now I lose my Nissa. So that was a pretty big punt. Yeah, that really costed me.
Be wary of the ground you walk on. My strength fades.
Yep, Narset is real good as well.
Encounter no obstacles.
Well, that's fortunate.
Together, we will prevail.
Yeah, let's send the Bog.
Harness the elements. Enough.
Cut their Nissa down so they can't ultimate it.
The land shall conquer you.
Yep, I'll keep trading lands.
Cease this aggression.
But it's not looking good here.
An open mind.
3 cards. I guess I can pulse Uro. Sure. But I guess my out is like killing Narset and finding some way to pull myself back into this. Like, hitting Nissa for 3 doesn't do much for me. Because I lose my Nissa this turn. They get to untap with Nissa, so the net end result is the same.
Behold, nature's true.
So really my only hope here is to... like, keep trading lands. And I guess I don't know what I can even draw at this point. Like, I pretty much lost the game on the spot when I casted Eliminate on their land and they made that 4/4 Shark token. So why don't we go ahead and go to game 3. Okay. So, do I want any more answers for sharks? Not really. But I could cut like one Krasis for one Shark Typhoon. It's just a little bit better at harassing Planeswalkers because of the instant speed. So I think I'll do that. All right, let's go first. Thoughtseize into Narset. Seems good to me. And I think I will lead on Triome. If they turn one Thoughtseize me, I'm kind of gotten, but I want to be able to cast Narset on 3, and like playing Triome tapped seems to be the way to go to do that to me. So what do we got here? I think I want to take their Narset, and then my Narset kind of shuts off their Uros and things. So I think I like that.
If you wish to surrender, meditate and prepare.
I would love a Nissa. Tap land, eh?
I have just the trick.
Thoughtseize seems good to me. Let's cast it. Resolves. Elder Gargs actually seems pretty dangerous. I have, things that can deal with Leyline. So I'm going to take Elder Gargs. And then we're going to play Fabled Passage, I think. Yeah, and we can cycle Fetid Pools as well. And then we'll just slam a Nissa next turn. Yep, that's fine.
We will not fail. Harness the elements.
But I like where this is going. And these are all for us, so this is going to be a huge shark. So now instead Shark will only be a, well, it's going to be a 5/5. That's like totally fine. Yep.
Rise, my element friend.
And this will be exactly 11, so all right, 4-1, 3-1 in the mirror. Not a bad league. All right, so why don't we just go over any lessons we learned? So I do still like the 3 Maelstrom Pulse, but playing 4 mirror matches and 1 Goblins deck makes me feel like you could probably put it back to 2. Maybe that was just crazy of me. And honestly, like, I'm strongly considering just playing Languish instead of Extinction Event. Like, Extinction Event is obviously good against the Sacrifice decks, but Extinction Event really often feels to me like it just doesn't do what I want it to do, which is just kill everything, please. Like, I'm losing. Please just kill everything. Oftentimes you're like, okay, kill half of your stuff, and then I die anyway. That didn't really bear out today because we were just playing the mirror a whole bunch, and it is good to like exile Uros and things like that, but I'm definitely interested in trying out Languish in this spot. That being said, everything else felt pretty good. Like, you could obviously do things like just get rid of Ugin. He's weirdly bad against Nissa and can be too slow, but once again, like, game 1, he's pretty good, but you could play something else, like just another Shark Typhoon or any number of eliminates, extra Tails End, things like that. Like, it's pretty flexible, so. And for the sideboard, I did want more Witch's Vengeance just for the Goblins deck, but, you know, Thought Distortion was awesome. It was unfortunate that my opponent showed that, but you did get to see, like, how devastating it is when you cast this card. There's pretty much nothing you can do about it, and in the right matchups, you just discard your hand. Yeah, Narset was sweet. Scavenging Ooze did its job the time or two I casted it. Maybe not amazingly, but it is still, like, definitely worth having in your sideboard. I feel like these two are a little confused, though, and I need to kind of figure out what direction I want to go when it comes to creature control. So yeah, we played 5 matches. We went 4-1 and played 4 mirror matches, went 3-1 against them. So I feel like this is pretty well suited for the mirror, it feels like. And I hope that if you're thinking about giving this deck a try, you should play it because Uro's not going to be legal forever. It's super obnoxious. So if you want to play with this card, I would suggest getting it in while you can. And that's going to be all the time I've got for today. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.